All right, so on this first tab on example 1, my possible quiz scores are 1 through 10. So we made a column here, quiz score, and we just listed 1 through 10. Now we're going to type in the frequency equation. So I go to the cell that I want that formula to be in, and I hit the equal sign. So I go equals. Then I start typing the word frequency, and as I do it, the frequency formula pops up. Now I just click on that frequency formula, and you see there's my parentheses. And it tells me use the arrow keys to select a range. So I'm going to go over here to where my quizzes are. And starting at 0, I'm going to click, and I'm just going to drag my cursor down until I reach the bottom of this row, where there it is, right there, at 10. Then I'm going to let it go. So now your formula has A14 colon A45. All right, now I hit comma. And this part is where you want to select the range that represents the classes. Okay, so that's our quiz scores. So I'm going to click on this 0 and drag down till I get to 10. Okay, and then close your parentheses or just hit enter. And you should get a frequency list right next to your scores. So to put the frequency in, I hit equals. Equals, and then I start typing the word frequency. And once it shows up, I just choose it. The first thing I'm going to do is put in the range of numbers, my data over here. So I click on 0 and I drag it down until I reach the last number in the list, which is a 10 right there. And then I go comma. And then the second part of this are my classes, which are from 0 to 10. So I highlight this 0 and I drag it down to 10. Then I close my parenthesis and hit enter. And there's your frequencies. And if you check it over here, we've got 2 1s, yep. We got 3 2s, correct. We got 2 3s, correct. So it did all the counting and stuff for us. So I highlighted both columns. And then I'm going to go over here to the chart, insert chart. Click on that, and usually it picks what kind of chart that you want, tries to figure it out. Here it comes. And you should have a bar chart now. And you can shrink it and move it around. You can copy it if you wanted to paste it into something else. You should be able to drag it around. If I was going to copy this, let's say, into a homework assignment, all right, you can take you can just snip this graph and not have to copy your whole screen. Okay, there's a snippet tool on your laptops. Yeah, I'll show you. where it is. Okay, so I want to take a picture of just that graph. I don't need the rest of the screen. So you're going to use 3 keys. Okay, the control key, the shift key, and then this key that's got a rectangle on it, and then 2 vertical lines. And when you press down on that, what's going to happen is your screen's going to get darker, and you'll be able to use your mouse and pick a portion of your screen. Okay, so it'll look something like this. I'm going to go Control, Shift, Screen, and my screen got a little bit darker. And then if you start moving your mouse around, you'll see this little crosshair. And if you click on it and drag, you can select any part of your screen that you want. Let it go, and you took a screenshot of just that part. And it stores them in your downloads. So that's how you can do just a partial screenshot and not have to do the whole thing. So the keys again were Control, Shift, and then this screen key. Your screen gets darker, and then use the pad, choose a part of your screen that you want. It's going to get lighter. So this light part right here is going to get copied. And then it copies it into your download folder. Okay, so that's how you can do it on your, you can take a, I don't know if you guys knew how to do that. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so down here, go to example 2. All right, or we'll get rid of this. I just highlight it and hit delete. Like we're starting from scratch. All right, now this one said you had a group of 37 teachers, so I took all those numbers and I typed them in this list. And the data is how many minutes they spent eating lunch. It says create a frequency table for this data, but now the classes are 4, the width is 4. 0 to 4, 4 to 8, etc. Create a histogram for this data. All right, so we're going to first do our table. All right, so I got classes. And we're just gonna type in the words here. So we're gonna go from 0 to 4, and then 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16. Okay, and actually I can, instead of calling that classes, I'll just call it, that's lunch minutes.
Mr. Krolak?
Yes.
Of the 6.2 presentation, mine doesn't have the minutes for lunch already written down. So,
did you go to example 2? Down here?
Yes. On the document, on like the spreadsheet I copied, it doesn't have it.
Does it have a 6B1?
No.
6B2?
All it has is the first one that we just did.
Oh, that doesn't. I tried downloading another. Is everyone like that? Is it or just Kennan's?
Oh, Never mind, I found it. Okay, I just had to switch.
Okay, you got it? All righty.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so we're back to example 2 here. All right, now those are our classes, or ranges, I guess I could say. Now I'm just gonna call these numbers this is the bins, and that's just a math Excel or a term that we use in Excel, which is the office version of Google Sheets. And what I'm going to put in here, guys, is the upper limit of each one of these intervals. So this would be 4, 8, 12, 16. And then my third column is going to be my frequency. Okay, does anybody need me to stop? Wait? Okay, now I'm going to do my frequency here. So I go equals frequency. And you're going to go over here and you're going to select all the numbers that are in your lunch minutes, drag it down. Comma. Now, you want to pick the column that says bins. So the 4, 8, 12, 16. Close your parentheses, enter. So from 0 to 4, there should be 8 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. From 4 to 8, there's 13 numbers. All right, now we're going to use Google Sheets to draw the histogram. Anybody need help with the frequency command? All right, now what I'm going to do to do a histogram, select all your minutes, just drag it down to the bottom, and we're going to go over to the insert chart, and I'm going to pick that, and most of the time it'll choose the right chart for you. So I pick that, and there's a histogram. Okay, anybody get something other than a histogram? Like a column chart or a bar chart with spaces in between? Line graph, stem and leaf, box and whisker, ball and chain, cloak and dagger. Okay, now what we've got to do is, this problem had specific ways that it wanted you to break up the data. So Google Sheets has its own default way of doing it, but in the problem description it said to make the classes 4 wide. Okay. All right. So the way that you customize this, just double click on your graph. And over here, you get a menu called the chart editor. All right. And we're going to click customize. And we're going to choose histogram. Okay. Now, one of the things I do is I put the item dividers in there. It just makes it easier to count how many you have in each. And then I'm going to change the width of my buckets or my bins. All right. So they have several auto ones, but you can just put in your own by highlighting it. So our buckets were supposed to be 4 wide. So I'm going to change that to a 4. Okay. Now, if we look at this one, so if you close that and you just click on each bar, it'll tell you what's in there. So this one says from 1 to 5, there's 8. From 5 to 9, there's 13. From 9 to 13, there's 10. 13 to 16 and a half, there's 7. But that doesn't match our chart here, our frequency chart. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to customize this a little bit more so that it matches our frequency chart. Okay, so double click on it again. Okay, and we're going to first do is we're going to change the horizontal axis. And we want our chart to go from 0 up to 16 and see what that does. Okay, so I close that. Now, when you click on each one of these bins, let's see what it tells us. So from 0 to 4, there's 7. It said there were 7. From 4 to 8, there was 13. From 8 to 12, there was 9. And from 12 to 16, there's 8. That doesn't match our frequency chart. This first bin should have 8, and it's only got 7. All right, now, this is kind of just something that's particular to using Google Sheets. The reason that's happening, guys, is if you look over here, if I go from 0 to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's not including the 4. Okay, so anytime you've got a data value that falls at one of your breaks, like you see how we got a 4 and one of our breaks is at a 4, and then we've got some 8s and one of our breaks is at an 8, and then we got a couple of 12s and we got a break at 12. Okay, so when that happens, you got to kind of you got to compensate for that in your graph a little bit. So the way that I do it is I take my lowest value, which is 1, and I just subtract a little from it. Okay, so watch what happens here. Let's see, where was I? I'm going to double click on it, and then this will fix up your chart so it matches your distribution. So I'm going to customize. I'm going to go down to the horizontal axis. Okay, my smallest number in my data was a 1. Okay, so what I do is I subtract from that, like 0.5 or even something smaller, so like 0.01. So if I do 1 take away 0.01, I'd have 0.09. Or I could have taken away a half, 0.5. Okay, I just take away a little bit, 1/100th. And then at the other bound, I add 1/100th or 0.5. So I could either do a 0.5 or could do a 0.01. And now what that's going to do, it's going to allow that 4 to get counted. And now if you look at our list here, okay, when I hold it over this one, so I know that this is really from 0 to 4. Now there's 8. This is really from 4 to 8. There's 13. From 8 to 12, 10. And from 12 to 16, 7. So the only time you got to do that is when you have some numbers in your data set that match breaks in your bins, the numbers that are between your bins. Okay, and then if you needed this to put in to paste into a homework, then I just do my Control Shift, and your screen gets a little bit darker. Everything is really slow right now. Like that, and then I drag it and it clips it, and I can paste it anywhere I want to paste it. Okay. So that's how you do histogram just using Google Sheets. All right, so the next one is from your homework, and since we only got a couple minutes left, we'll start this one tomorrow, and then I'll shift that assignment one day over. Okay, questions? All right, guys, I will see everybody tomorrow. Take care. Now, there's another way you can make a histogram-like graph from your frequency distribution. And the way that you would do that is I would choose the minutes for lunch column. Then I'm going to hit the Control key and choose my frequency column, but I don't choose this leading 0 or this ending 0 here. And then I'm going to pick a column graph. And the reason I said it was histogram-like is because there's really not supposed to be spaces in between the graphs, but it's telling you the same information that it does, and you can customize it the same way that we did the other ones. And there is one thing that does bring the columns together here. Hold on. If I do where it says switch rows and columns, now you lose the scale on the bottom, but you get this legend on the top that says the same thing. So there's a couple, that's just a couple of other options that you have other than this histogram that we drew using the actual histogram function.